side is pleasure, boom, shape pleasure.
So when you think about what Web3 brings to game design, it boils down to the fact that cryptocurrency allows us to communicate intrinsic utility with technology like NFTs and broader concepts like decentralization that facilitate that communication of intrinsic utility. Decentralization and the scarcity, not rarity, but scarcity specifically, allows for this application of game theory in ways that we're not used to seeing in Web2 games. And the two big examples I've come up with of this, the first one is it's all about where you buy your churros, okay? I live in Chicago. Let's say I'm seeing Disney on Ice at the Allstate Arena. I see a guy selling churros outside that arena, but I ate beforehand and rather not refinance my house for a friggin' dessert, right? Now say Mickey's doing a triple axle center ice and I see El Turero going up and down the aisles, and it gets a lot harder to quash that temptation, right? So that churro provides an intrinsic utility because who indulge it is to feel like you are doing the thing you're supposed to do in the place you're supposed to be doing it. In that moment, all is right with the world. It's that feeling that the vast majority of microtransactions occur in a marketplace, which sits completely alongside, but is otherwise detached from the actual game. Like our stadium churro, ballpark hot dogs, funnel cakes, all that. The thoughtful integration of Web3 technology into the lore and mechanics of a game can elevate how players perceive these items and upgrade into something more than just loot. And doing so, they're not just buying loot anymore, they're investing in immersion. And swear to God, if a $10 hot dog at Wrigley Field, home to the Chicago Cubs, a team that went 108 years without winning a World Series, are any evidence, not only are people willing to make that investment in immersion, they're willing to pay a gut-wrenching premium on it. The second example I have, the unique value of Web3 is bringing to this ecosystem, to gaming as a whole, right, comes from the greatest NFT game of all time. A game for those who wanted to be the very best, like no one ever was. Basking in the dopamine rush of having successfully caught your first Pokemon. Pokemon offered players this opportunity to name their new Pokemon, right? And just that right there, that's increasing the intrinsic value of your NFT. And this is going to be a bit of a tangent, but it's important that you all know how diabolically addicting Pokemon is. First gen Pokemon learn a new move every 3 to 5 levels. And each new move strengthens the ownership players feel towards that Pokemon's growth. And the spaces available to remember those new moves are limited, so it reinforces this journey players feel like they've made with the Pokemon, remembering these different move sets that it has at different progression points throughout the game. The limited availability of a skill slot that also lends itself to trading because 2 level 50 Pokemon can have entirely different skill sets. Averaging data from the first 9 generations, I figured out Pokemon evolve every 29 levels on average between the first 9 generations. And at that point, they're receiving new character art, sound effects, and it's basically further bookmarking your journey together with this creature, right? And keep in mind, you can hold 6 of these little dopamine goblins at once. At its core, this journey I keep mentioning, that is referring to this intrinsic value a player feels towards the Pokemon. When Pokemon does something important that NFTs do today, and I think it's really important that people who are building Web3 technology into the space consider, and that is it gives you a reason not to trade your Pokemon. Each Pokemon has this enormous amount of intrinsic utility because of this deep sense of reward you've felt throughout this journey you've had of creating it. And that intrinsic value is something we nurture. It gives weight to the thought of ever trading it away. So in my mind, this is the gold standard for what an NFT brings to a game. And that traditional loot can't, because Web3 technology like NFTs and decentralized infrastructures, they facilitate that communication of that weight, right? Like nothing could ever reproduce that sense of awe and wonderment we felt huddled around the holographic Charizard at recess as a kid, right? Part, though, of what made that so special is we were being present together in that moment and sharing an experience with somebody in the moment. And there's certain human nuances that just you had to be there, right? Web3 technology can go so much further in capturing that feeling than anything else Web2 is bringing to the table right now. And we need to be utilizing that a lot more than we are. Between those two things, I think there's huge advantages that Web3 offers that I don't think people on just a theory level are even considering right now, but I want to build into our games. I don't want us to build something that is tantamount to a loot box. We can do better.